few months ago when I did that reading mean tweets video, because it was a bit of therapy. And I had them all printed out. My dad came in and he was like, what are these? I was like, these are from a video, these are what people are saying. And he was pissing himself laughing. I was like, oh, put as much hard work into it as well. And you'd like to get the credit for it as well. And I think over time it's realising that actually people are interested in what you've got to say, and you don't appreciate the reach you've got. Like 400,000 people that subscribe to one channel is actually a hell of a lot of people.
What is up, everyone, and welcome back to TotalSport. Today we are going through our third HITC member. We've had Alfie on retrospective, and we decided to, as these two guys had such a brilliant reception to Alfie's video, it'd be amazing to get them on the channel as well. So today we are joined by James Rutherford, another HITC Sport contributor. How are you, mate?
Yeah, I'm not too bad. Yourself?
I'm good. I'm even better after Liverpool beat Newcastle yesterday. It was actually the Irish guy and you started up HITC Sport, wasn't it, James? So talk to me about how you just came to decide to form the channel for yourselves.
It was Michael who started the channel. I was with HITC first. I was writing part of this Writers Academy system, which I joined, started doing a few hours, getting a few hundred quid, which was all right, because I hadn't been paid for writing before. And I think I'd been sharing articles on Facebook, whatnot, just to get a few extra hits. And Michael had seen them, so he thought he would apply, got involved. Because me and Michael went to university together, that's how we knew each other. And then I remember we used to play football on a Saturday morning together, and he was like, oh, I'm thinking of getting a camera. He's interviewing some fans and whatnot. I was like, all right, yeah, go for it. So he must have said this to our boss. And our boss, for some reason, took a punt and said, all right, well, why don't you do it for me? And started the channel. And then I got roped in as a cameraman, which is how I got involved. And it was, I hated being a cameraman. It was awful. We used to go to Newcastle, we went to Middlesbrough, Sunderland. We went to go to Leeds one morning, and Michael didn't turn. It was Newcastle Leeds in the Championship. We were going to go down. I think we were getting the train at about 7 o'clock on the bus. So I said to Michael, you can stay at mine if you want, and we'll get the train up and get the train to Leeds. He's like, no, I'll come to yours, because my dad was going to drop off at the train station. And he just never turned up.
Oh, no.
He'd slept in or something, and the reason he didn't want to stay or something was because he lost his phone or something. I was livid, because we'd only just started up, and I was just, Michael's a lot more relaxed than I am. He's very, not to be stereotypical, but the Irish are a bit more laid back. And, yeah, but I mean, he's always, it'll be all right on the night, whereas I was like, oh, we're meant to be there in 2 hours. And he's like, oh, well, if we get a train in 10 minutes, we might be able to get there. I'm like, no, that's not happening. So we ended up having to go to Middlesbrough, which was all right. He bought us a pint, we got over it.
Absolutely. So you mentioned that you guys were at university together. were you always part of the same friendship group? Did you know each other through the course you were doing? What was that all about?
Yeah, well, we were both doing Marcel. Like he'd studied journalism over in Ireland, and I'd done English at Northumbria. And we both went to Sunderland to do a master's in journalism, sports journalism. I remember on the first day, because it was only, with being a master's course, it was only about 12 who were in the class. It was all quite a tight-knit group. I remember on the first day we were in a group together, and Mike was chatting to him. My first thought was, you can talk that lad. And here we are. Yeah, we were always good pals together. Like I say, went to match together a few times. We were playing football. He would come along with my mates on a Saturday morning, so we always got on really well.
Absolutely, well, and it's come out like it has done. So when you were sort of growing up in this, well, you weren't really growing up in this time, but as you were developing more as YouTube grew, was it something that you always saw yourself doing?
No, literally never. The whole thing, I've kind of just stumbled into it, because I remember as part of the journalism thing, one of the compulsory modules you had to do was like a video journalism thing, so we learned how to edit stuff and make like news packages, and you're thinking, well, I'm only doing this because I've got to, and then it ends up being like the most important skill for the both of us have learned. So no, I never had any aspirations of doing this, but then I'm at a point now, it's like I don't know what else I would do. Like if I'd never done this, I don't know what I'd be doing at all.
No, absolutely. So, what was the sort of reception from your family when you got to do this? Because a lot of YouTubers are like, oh, it's not a proper job, and all that sort of stuff. Was your family always quite receptive to it?
Ah, yeah. I mean, to a certain extent, I'm not really quite sure they know what to do. But I mean, this, yeah. I mean, that don't really understand. I don't think they probably appreciate like quite how many like people watch with stuff and whatnot. I remember
Yeah.
I'd like 8 weeks ago. I mean, it was a few months ago. I did that reading mean tweets video because it was a bit of therapy, and I had them all printed out. My dad came in and he was like, "What are these?" I was like, "These are from a video. These are what people have been saying." And he was pissing himself laughing. I was like, "Oh, that's where we're at." Uh-huh.
Absolutely, mate. It must be. And talking of that, it's something that we wanted to cover because yourself, you've received quite a lot, and we talk about it a lot on this channel. Is trolling and Twitter is not a very nice place, to be honest. So how have you managed to develop from the beginning to receiving the amount of coverage that you have done, and getting the amount of abuse that you get, which is not deserved? But how do you cope with it?
Um, I think it varies from day to day because sometimes you think, well, people always say, well, why would you listen to if there's one nice comment, sorry, if there's 9 nice comments and one horrible comment, why would you focus on the horrible one? So sometimes I'm like, well, other times I'm like, well, why should I care? Because at the end of the day, it's the people who's paying us to do it. And some people I think just get annoyed because people like being annoyed and have something
Yeah.
to moan at. Sometimes I'm like, well, to pop with them, I don't really care. And then the past few months, I think particularly during the whole lockdown thing, it would knock me confidence a bit. But then you have a video that does class, and you get back into a rhythm, and I don't know. So I don't like to harp on about it because I don't want to be like, sometimes when people say something, oh, I'm feeling so sad and whatnot, and it's a little bit of a cry for attention. Not, I don't mean that in like people like desperate to be liked, but they.
It must be quite difficult because you got a lot of attention there. There's 400,000 people watching your videos, well, effectively. So what, in sort of contemplating the amount of people that are there, like, do you think, oh, actually the vast majority of them are there because you view yours and Michael's hard work? Do you think that's sort of difficult to comprehend when you've got a mean comment there?
Yeah, because I think a lot of the people are like, oh well, I'll do videos and like, oh well, we want an Irish guy or whatever and whatnot, and it goes on and on. And I'm like, well, hang on, we've both been here. We've both been doing it at the start. I mean, at the start of the channel, we used to do. I think we both used to do like nearly a video every day. We used to do multiple uploads, and then a few years ago, I started doing less because I started doing different roles within the company. So it became more predominantly Michael, and I was always doing 2 a week just to fill the gaps. It annoys us when people are like, oh, it's his channel. I'm like, well, no, it's not. It's both of us. It sometimes comes across as quite disrespectful in the sense that, well, I'll put as much hard work into it as well. And you'd like to get the credit for it as well.
Yeah, I get that completely. It's like people, giving me all the credit and Haas gets nothing. But yeah, Haas, I hope you're watching, mate. But anyway, so moving forward, what's been your favourite video that you've made in the HITC Sport channel, and why?
Well, that's a good question. I was about to say the first one I did on camera, but that would be an absolute lie because I hated it mainly. I like those. I did one, a face to camera one about the Newcastle takeover, alleged takeover. And the day before, Michael had done a similar one, and I was like, I still want to do my own because there's different ways we could do it. I quite enjoyed that because I felt a bit more. It wasn't like stop start. It was like almost a one take thing. It felt almost quite natural. That was a good one. I can't think of any other good ones off the top of my head. There's so many that kind of all just blur into one.
Yeah,
And
I get what you mean.
sometimes the funnest ones to do are the ones that maybe you won't get the most views. Like I'm quite into wrestling, so I think it was like every team's most likely winner of a Royal Rumble. And I think I did another one of like every club's most famous music fan or something like that. I'll try to like merge all of my other hobbies. I mean, sometimes they don't get the most coverage, but they were fun to do.
That's very, very similar to what Alfie said. Actually, is like the best videos you do don't get the most views. So it's very similar. So how have you found? Because you know that you're both under the same company. Do you find that the sort of having Alfie there as well under the HITC name is a positive thing?
Oh yeah, I mean, the two channels are very different. Alfie's got a ridiculous knowledge of football at a time. I mean, I don't think he realised that football didn't actually start in 1992. But I think I had my first interview with Alfie. He is really. I mean, I haven't read his book yet, but I've heard it's brilliant. There's no way how an Alfie would be a bad thing, because the two totally different styles to channels. His is a lot more informative, covers a whole variety of topics, whereas I think I'll make sort of the medium in between the three of us.
Yeah, absolutely. So when you said coming on camera, you hated the first time you did it because you always have done voiceovers before.
Yeah.
How difficult a transition was that to make for you?
Really difficult. I mean, no one ever asked us to do it or pressured us into having to do it. I was lying wait one night and just thought, why don't I give it a go? Because now I was like, well, if I don't do it now, I'm never going to do it. And I mean, I haven't really done many lately just because some videos don't need it. Well, in my head initially, I was like, well, actually, how am I going to do it? And then I was like, well, how am I going to structure it into a video that's going to be like around 10 minutes? And then having the confidence to speak without a script, making eye contact. And it was all, I remember doing one, I tried to do it like almost have like, I'd written up a script and I was like, in my head, I was like, no, I need to do one to camera because I haven't done one in a while. So I had the script with us and I was recording. I was like, this looks so terrible because you can see I'm blatantly reading the script and I was like, oh, to pop that, I'll just do a voiceover. But yeah, it was particularly hard. Now, I mean, I'm not a natural, whereas Michael is very charismatic. You've got to get me on the right topic to get a bit more out of it.
Absolutely, mate. Well, you know, it sort of leads to a different angle in that respect. So what would you say has been the biggest change you've seen in yourself from the beginning of HITC to now, and why?
Biggest change? I think it probably is a confidence thing. Because I know I was saying before, sometimes it can knock your confidence if some negative comments can get on top of you. But I mean, it's not that bad. But I think just from a confidence perspective, I used to hate recording if there was anyone else, like, because we all work from home. I used to hate if there was someone else. I was like, oh, I don't want anyone else to hear us while I'm talking, like ignoring the fact that, well, hopefully thousands of people are going to watch this. So I'm probably a bit more used to that. Yeah, I think confidence is probably the main thing, and just backing yourself. Yeah. And I think over time it's realising that actually people are interested in what you've got to say, and you don't appreciate the reach you've got. Like 400,000 people to subscribe to one channel is actually a hell of a lot of people. Like sometimes I'll be like, oh, that video only got 50,000 views. And then and my girlfriend will be like, oh, well, that's still a lot of people. I'm like, yeah, but it's not like we're average. And then I'll say, like, 50,000 people is quite a lot of people to watch one video. So, yeah.
Absolutely, mate. Well, tell you what we'd give for a 50K, eh? But hey, so you mentioned this will be one of the final two questions that we've got. So lockdown, how much of a challenge was it for you guys to keep creating 7 videos a week during this time?
I didn't find it that bad, to be honest. I think I remember like probably 6 months down the line, and we would have some mad ideas for videos, like totally random stuff, and people were like, they're running out of ideas, and it's 3-4 years on, and we're still churning out something every day. So in terms of ideas, it's never been an issue. A lot of it's sometimes just been taking a risk with something, because a lot of the time you can have something which is time dependent, like straight after Liverpool won the title, I did a video about like where were they 5 years ago or something, and you can guarantee that's going to do pretty well because you've already got your general audience, but then you've got people who are typing in Liverpool champion stuff, and it's going to come from new viewers. So you guarantee to be going into like you're reaching loads of people. Whereas if you just got something totally random, it's a total gamble whether it's the video's going to latch on or anything. But we're in a position where we can take that gamble. Whereas at the start we've got total like control over what we do. Whereas at the start when we were new and hadn't really proven ourselves, we used to like have a meeting every day and it'd be like, right, well, what video are you doing today? And I'm like, well, I don't know. And I'm like, well, you need to get a shift on because it needs to be up in 12 hours or whatever. So that was difficult. But now having the total creative control and the trust to do what you want basically is good. So yeah, it hasn't really been an issue. The only difference for me has been it's been non-stop video because I used to do 2 videos a week and I was an editor for the HITC website, so I was working with the writers. So doing the YouTube videos was like a nice change of pace, whereas now it's like videos and everything. So it's a lot more relentless, but it's back to what it used to be.
Absolutely. And finally, could you give one piece of advice to a young James just making his first video for HITC Sport? What would it be?
Oh, don't do it. No, just back yourself.
Yeah. I mean, that's a perfect way to finish it. Thank you very much, James, for joining us and completing our HITC triad. So where can people find you on Twitter and stuff like that, mate?
I'm on Twitter at HITC James. I think that's the only social media I do work. Although Alfie set up an Instagram and then annoyingly followed my personal accounts. I've like acquired like an extra load of followers, which they're not going to see anything exciting on my Instagram. I don't post anything good on it.
Absolutely not an Instagram poser then.
And I don't take pictures. My girlfriend always goes, you never take any nice pictures. So I've started, when we're like the queues for the shops were mad at the start of lockdown, I would always take a picture of her. I'd be sat in the car while she was in the queue for Asda or whatever, and I would take a picture of her like reflection through the wing mirror, and apparently that wasn't good either.
Absolutely. So don't follow James on Instagram, guys. The one thing I can say to you people is make sure you hit the subscribe button. That is very much appreciated. While we're recording this, we are on 406 subscribers, which is, we didn't think we'd hit 400 by the time that August finished, let alone by the time July finished. We're recording this on the 27th. So congratulations, you lot. You did a good job. And thanks to Alfie as well for boosting that up a little bit. But yeah, thank you very much for watching, and we will see you in the next video. Thank you.